and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what we are going to do right now is I'm going to correct some thinking, some issues that I noticed on assignments earlier this week. You had a question similar to this that said, what is the division equation? And then it gave you 4 answer choices. I'm not going to give you 4 answer choices because that would be too nice. So what is the value of each line?
10.
A tenth. 1/10. The value of each line is 1/10. Value of each line is 1/10. The value of each little square is 100. 100. So now we have to do the equation. We have been working on division. It says what is the division equation. So the first thing I would do is I'd put my division sign. And I have to come up with these 3 numbers. I have to come up with these 3 numbers. First of all, what is it being divided into? How many groups? 4 groups. Okay, 4 groups. That's what I'm dividing it by. My answer is the number in each group. So what's the value of each group? 71/100. The value of each group is 71/100 because there's 7/10 and there's 100th in each group. So now my divisor, or my dividend, what is being divided is the total number that is there. What I saw on work is people put 71/100 divided by 4. But your total, what is being divided, is what needs to be as your dividend. So what is the total amount here? Braden?
28.4.
Not 28.4. 28/10. So 28/10, which is the same as saying 2.8 and 400. So 2 and 84/100 is what is being divided into 4 groups. A lot of you, when I saw the equations, were not doing that. You were taking this and thinking that's what was being divided. That's what your quotient is. That's what the division is, the answer to it. So you got to make sure when you see a picture like this, the groups are easy. You could all tell that it was being divided by 4. The answer is easy. Now I could also take my answer and multiply it by what's being divided. And if I did that, I'd get 4, I'd get 28. There are 2 numbers behind my decimal point, which would give me 2 and 84/100. All right, one other error that I noticed yesterday. When we're dividing, and we're dividing by decimals, or dividing with decimals, such as we have here, 16 2/10 divided by 5, we're not going to have a remainder. Some of you turned in that work yesterday with a remainder. You're not going to have a remainder. So let's go through this and show you what we may have done wrong if you got a remainder. First of all, you move your decimal point straight up. Now I'm done with the decimal point. I don't have to mess with the decimal point anymore. Then I ask myself, self, does 5 go into 1? And myself says, no. Then I ask myself, does 5 go into 16? And myself says, yes. Means I'm going to have one number above the 6 and one number above the 2. It's important that you know to put it above the 6. Otherwise, it's going to line up wrong, and you could end up accidentally putting the 6 behind the decimal point. That is why I always do this. So I make sure I'm putting my numbers in the correct place. Then I ask myself, how many times does 5 go into 16? And myself says?
3.
3. Now, I don't have to list my multiples like I do, because if they're one-digit multiples, I can always look at my multiplication chart. And then I ask myself, what is 3 times 5? Myself says?
15.
And I subtract, I get 1, and I bring down the 2. That's why my next number is going to go in the 10th place, right behind the decimal point. How many times does 5 go into 12? 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract, I get 2. Now this is what I saw in this problem. This is one from yesterday's assignment. And I got 3 2/10, remainder 2. But your teacher just told you that you don't do a remainder. So what do? Ziamara.
You add a 0 right next to the 2.
I add a 0. And I know that it doesn't change the value. Because if I said Alex, I have 16 2/10. Give me 0 hundredths. Is he going to have to hand me anything?
No.
If he's giving me 0 of something, he's not handing me anything. So that means I can add that. I can add 78 zeros behind it if I want to. But now, if I bring down that 0, I'm going to have a number above that 0. And I know that 5 goes into 20 how many times? 4. And 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract, and I get a 0. Okay, so we're not going to have a remainder. Some problems will keep going. If you add a 0, they'll keep going forever. Some problems. Some problems may go out 4 or 5 places. If we have a case like that, it's going to tell you to round. So if we had, let's say, this problem. If we had this problem, 1 divided by 3, and I move my decimal point straight up, and I see that 1 doesn't go into, or 3 doesn't go into 1, but 3 goes into 10 3 times, and I get a 9, I subtract, and I get 1. Well, I already said you can't have 3/10 remainder 1, so I can always add a 0. So I add my 0 there, bring it down, 3 goes into 10 3 times, 3 times 3 is 9, subtract, I get a 1. This is going to go on forever.
True.
It's going to go on forever. So a lot of times they'll say round it to the nearest hundredth, or round it to the nearest tenth. And y'all are smart, so you know how to round. If not, we can review that a little bit. Thank you all for watching.
Bye.